snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys! So I am here today to do a long-awaited joint review of book 4, 5, 6 and 7 in the Harry Potter series. I uploaded a review of the first 3 Harry Potters a while back. I will put a link to it down below. This is a reread that I was doing starting at the very beginning of this year or the end of last year. I started rereading all of the Harry Potter books and I'm so incredibly glad that I did because genuinely I have loved this reread. I will go ahead and say that I've given every single book 5 out of 5 stars. I do genuinely adore this series. I grew up reading it, I grew up listening to it, I grew up watching the films, and I just have such a passion for these books, and I'm sure that loads of people on YouTube do, so I don't really think I need to explain that. So obviously I gave them all 5 stars. What I did like was on the reread, I think I sort of saw a lot more stuff that I didn't see as a child, because although I have reread these before, I hadn't reread the 5th, 6th or 7th books. I'd only read each of those ones once, so it's pretty exciting to be able to read the 3 of them again and rediscover everything that happens. There were definitely so many moments where I had forgotten them because I've rewatched the films hundreds of times and I had kind of forgotten some of the things that the films leave out, even though I've read them before. So it was really great to be able to just go back into the world and rediscover everything along with the characters and not necessarily preempt everything that was coming because it had been such a long time since I read them. If you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, then Harry Potter is the story of a young boy who discovers that he is a wizard and he gets a letter to go to a school called Hogwarts. And Hogwarts is the place where he ends up learning all of the magic in the world, meeting the best friends of his life and basically having an amazing time, whilst also facing the evil Lord Voldemort, who is quite horrible and is his arch enemy and has been since the day that Lord Voldemort tried to kill him as a child. That's the basic premise. By the time we get to book 4, we've already seen Harry face off against Voldemort a couple of times, not necessarily in person, but we've definitely seen hints of Voldemort coming back. In the 4th book, we get a look at Voldemort actually trying to return to a physical body, and it all becomes a little bit more threatening. I really enjoyed seeing Voldemort actually start to become a bit of a bad enemy and start to do things that were kind of threatening to the people that Harry loved and to the people of the wizarding world. I also really enjoy that in the 4th book we get the Triwizard Tournament and we also get the Quidditch World Cup. I just love both of them and it makes me entirely so happy to read about both of those things again. I also just love seeing the development of the Weasley twins as we go through the series, particularly in the later few books. They start to become some of my favourite characters when they meet up with Harry and have private conversations about starting businesses. It was all very exciting. Moving on to the 5th book, I absolutely loved this one and I had forgotten so much that happened in this book. It was ridiculous, but it's quite a chunky one. It is the longest one in the series, I believe, and a lot happens within this book, even though I had totally forgotten it, so it was fantastic to be able to rediscover everything that happens in that. I loved seeing Harry and Hermione and Ron as they evolved, and of course I just had a great time revisiting the magical world. We get to see Dumbledore really start taking an interest in Harry and start to help him out with his education a lot more, but I feel like the end of book 5 and book 6 were really where Dumbledore started to take a big interest in Harry and help him out. I really enjoyed seeing the way that Harry starts to sort of discover some of the story of Lord Voldemort and why he became the way that he did. I think that that was just fascinating, and I think that the way that J.K. Rowling puts in little clues is great. She's just an excellent writer in my opinion, although I haven't read anything else by her. I've only read Harry Potter, so maybe I should rectify that with some of her other books, because I know she's written a couple of other ones now, so if you've read her other stuff, let me know what you would recommend. I've heard good things about the crime series that she does, so let me know if that's true or not. But yes, I really enjoyed it and I definitely loved seeing all of the stuff happening again and seeing Harry get into all of these adventures once more. Finally, I have to say that I absolutely hate Dolores Umbridge from book 5. My goodness, she was a nightmare through and through. I could have stabbed my book a million times over whilst I was reading about her. I just despise her. She is so wretched and horrible. I do not like her at all. So Yeah, she's probably my most hated character from Harry Potter, even though Voldemort is a bad guy and Snape is really nasty to Harry, and there are lots of other people who are not very nice. Just genuinely, Dolores is the worst. Absolutely the worst. So yeah, did not like her at all. Moving on to the 6th book and then finally the 7th book. I think the 7th book is really beautifully wrapped up for the series. I really was happy with the ending on the reread and also the first time I read it. I think that J.K. Rowling does a great job of ending everything. And I mean, there are so many problems with Harry Potter according to so many people, but to me it's just pure delightful entertainment, and I don't think you need anything more than that from a children's series that kind of slowly developed into an adult series. It was just fantastic, and it is one that you can read with your children or with your friends or with your parents, and it doesn't really matter what age range it's aimed at because it is just pure excitement and fun, and it sparks off the imagination of a child even more because you kind of want that excitement of going to Hogwarts. Hogwarts, the way that J.K. Rowling describes it, is the best place on earth. Everything about the magical world is fantastic, fascinating, and magical. And why would you not want to go there? It was so wonderful, and I loved it. And I could talk about this all day, but I'm going to try not to. So basically, I loved them all. I gave them all 5 out of 5 stars, of course, and I would highly recommend that you read this series if you haven't already. I'm sure all of you have, and if you haven't, you should, because it's fun. It's really, really fun, and that's the biggest thing that I can take away from the series. But I mean, there's so much else going on there too. It's sentimental, it teaches you lessons, it's about honesty, it's about truth, it's about deception, it's about lies, it's about everything you can think of. And it's just beautiful and poignant and wonderful. So I love Harry Potter, I always will, and I'm sure I will reread this series again and again. Let me know your thoughts down below if you've read them, tell me what your favourite book in the series is, and I will chat to you in the comments and see you in my next video. Bye!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.